the educators in the room will agree. I see Dr. Richardson there. That's why we get into this, because we want to help people along that path that you're already well on. So I don't have a lot to say tonight, because really the event is about you students, and we're all eager to hear your stories. And we've been reading them in the Tribune. And I've now been in La Crosse, and you heard I was in Winona, so I mean, when you combine that, I think it's about 20 years in the region. And I think it's safe to say that this feature of the Tribune, the extra effort, is the signature contribution that the paper makes. It's really special. And I think we should give some hearty appreciation to somebody who's been leading that now for 27 years, Rusty Cunningham. Thank you. He is now retired from the Tribune, but he still comes back, and his wonderful wife, Gail, and they just do this. And I know it's a lot of work, but it's not hard, right? Because just to have a night like tonight is so very, very special. So congratulations, students. And you know, another thing, you think about the world and how it's changing and so on. When I got this job back in 2007, I went to a conference of new presidents and chancellors, and one of them had this brand new thing called the iPhone. And we looked at that, and look at this thing. Never dreaming the impact that the technology would have on our lives, on the economy, on the work we do. So on the one hand, that can be a little scary because you don't know what's coming next. But on the other, I think it's very, very exciting because there are so many possibilities. So I encourage you students to take full advantage of everything the world has to offer and bring that goodness that you have acquired through the challenges you've overcome out to everybody, and we'll have a better world as a result. So thank you for all that you've done to inspire us in the work that we do, and we're very excited to have you here on the UWL campus. And I guess I would be remiss as Chancellor of UW La Crosse, students, if you'd like to come to study here, we would be delighted. But I think President Triley over there with the turbo, he would say the same thing. And we're going to give some scholarships here tonight to make some of that possible. But regardless, wherever you go to school, you know, if it's a 2-year school, 4-year school, you go to grad school, what have you. My dear old grandma, she always said to me, your education, they can't take that away from you. And that is so true, I will tell you that. So again, what an exciting night, and I am so privileged to be a part of this. And why don't we talk about the students instead of these old administrators? Thank you very much.
Just to give you an idea about that iPhone thing, I met the Chancellor when I was on the Search and Screen Committee. And we met in what used to be called at a hotel a computer room, where there was a bank of computers where we all got on the internet. And we literally met early one morning checking what, you know, was this fancy new email thing. So yeah, it's been a little while.
It's that hotel across from IKEA, up by the Minneapolis airport.
That's right.
I
That's
remember
absolutely
very well.
right. I'm going to ask the Chancellor to stick with us here. And I'd also like to introduce a couple of really special people. First is River Valley Media President Paul Peeler, and also our new Executive Editor, Todd Kreshak. They're going to come up here with the Chancellor and pass out framed pages to each student as we get to reading each student's story. Now, students, it works this way. And we've never left a child behind, so you're going to be okay. You're going to get through this. I'll read each student's name. I'll read about you. You're coming up as after I've read your name. When I finish reading your story, I'll say your name again. You smile for all the parents and everyone else taking pictures and shake hands, go back to your seat, and then we go on to the next student. Anyone have any questions? And there are cookies in back if you get lost. So don't worry. I should tell you, as always, this is a busy time of year, so there are other scholarship programs, golf meets, there's all sorts of stuff. So there are several students who are not here. I'll call their name anyway, just in case they may have stepped in. But I'll, instead of reading all their script if they're not here, I'll move on to the next student just to move things along. Once we finish tonight, I'll scoop up all the certificates as well as pages for students who aren't here, and I bet next week I'll be driving through the countryside delivering some of those. So our first student is Caitlin Smith of Aquinas. I believe Caitlin was not able to join us this evening, is that correct? Next, Byron Urbina Cabrera, Arcadia. Byron, come on up. Moving to a new school can be challenging, but imagine moving to Arcadia from Honduras, as Byron did in 2021. He has worked hard to improve his English. He's experienced culture shocks, both with American culture and the Mexican culture in Arcadia. He says school has been easier than it was in Honduras because there is so much more access to technology and after-school help. And he's enjoyed connecting with new people in Arcadia and likes sharing stories about Honduras. The staff at Arcadia wrote, Byron has demonstrated incredible resilience and perseverance in many ways. Despite having suffered tremendous losses, hardships, and traumas, he has been able to be a successful A student and athlete. He's a great positive role model for our students and a bright spot in the day for the staff and the teachers. He has even helped the district mental health coordinator by serving on a peer-to-peer suicide prevention team. He is a tremendous asset to the community. Byron works hard to be a role model for his younger brother, saying, I try to be responsible and try to improve every day because I want to be a good example for him. He embraces America as a land of opportunity and wants to study architecture or civil engineering in college, and he hopes to also play on his university's soccer team. Byron Urbina Cabrera, Arcadia. Next, Ariana Martin of Bangor. Last I knew she was not able to make it. Next, Evan Voss of Black River Falls. Evan, are you here? There we go. Evan is the quarterback at Black River Falls, and his family story is best explained in football terms. Throughout middle school, his father Robert went all over the state seeking a solution for level 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma. As a last resort, a doctor called a Hail Mary, a stem cell transplant that required someone with the same blood type and a close genetic match. Evan was one of the only options, and he didn't hesitate to help save his father's life. The Hail Mary worked. Evan is in leadership roles in the National Honor Society, Interact Club, Tiger Investment, FBLA, Science Club, and Project Christmas. In addition to playing football, he helps with youth football camps and is a youth basketball referee. He has a 3.96 GPA and says Dad's treatment helped him develop discipline in school. Now, Evan wants to play quarterback here at UW-La Crosse. As Evan says, sometimes life has you on your knees ready to give up, but this is when you push back even harder and refuse to give up. Going into college, I really think the valuable things I've learned throughout my life will give me the strength to push through and succeed to become the best version of myself. Evan Voss, Black River Falls. Juan Lopez of Blair Taylor. Juan has been independent since age 15. That's because his mother died 2 years ago this month. Juan says, she always supported me, especially my artwork. She was my main role model in my life, the person I looked up to. She was my everything, and I love her very much. He says she was an amazing person, funny, kind, helpful. He helped provide care before her death. Juan is the youngest in a close-knit family. He has 2 older sisters and 2 older brothers. His sister Ariana, only a high school senior at the time, became his legal guardian. Juan says it took a long time to overcome the loss. I never really hung out with anyone during school, never did sports or participated in many events, and I wasn't doing well in my classes, and the loss made school much more difficult for me. Then he joined the track and field team, what he calls a life-changing event. Then he ran cross-country, became a class officer, and became involved with the school district's Big Cats, Little Cats mentorship program. He also joined FBLA and BT Club, and he volunteers in the community. His counselor says Juan has been a positive role model who is a continuous smile every day, despite the challenges. Juan plans to study forensic science. Juan Lopez, Blair Taylor. Liliana Vera Witt, Brookwood. There she comes. Lily's mental health was at a low point when she entered high school. She had trouble studying, she had trouble sleeping, she had trouble with her social interaction and with her self-identity. But things started to turn thanks to a creative writing class her junior year. She also turned to prayer, journaling, and support from her family. Feeling like I had to be somebody I wasn't. Reaching out for help when you needed it. Knowing that it's okay, and people struggle with things all the time. Brookwood Principal Angela Funk says, Lily is real. She is probably one of the most real students I have met. She is incredibly mature for her age. She's very reflective and thoughtful and kind. I've been truly amazed at the amount of reflection she put into her personal development and growth, and in doing so, she's had to face some hard truths and be incredibly honest with herself. As a senior, Lily has improved her outlook, her grades, and her participation in groups like choir, band, forensics, and FFA. She will attend Rochester Technical College to pursue a career as a veterinary tech. She says, I just look forward to finding more ways to live. Liliana Vera Witt, Brookwood. Ivy Thorson, Cashton. After leaving work one winter's day during her junior year, Ivy couldn't bring herself to return home. Ivy says, a lot of mental and child abuse happened when I was a kid. I needed to get away from it. I figured I might as well leave now or I'll never do it. So she ran away and lived in her car until a friend offered her a place to stay. Ivy says, honestly, if it wasn't cold, I don't think I would have ever said yes. She found a new home, transferred to a new school with a new outlook. She worked long hours as a CNA in a nursing home to support herself. She says, I've definitely allowed myself to let people in. I've stopped letting toxic people stay in my life. Counselor Greg Strichko says, she came in here and handled herself with grace and maturity. And since then, her GPA has gone up, her confidence has gone up, and she's ready to get into the adult world. She plans to join the Air Force and become a pediatric nurse, inspired to help her 8 younger siblings who she visits weekly. Ivy says, my biggest thing I'm looking forward to is having siblings there and showing them that it's possible, being the first kid in the family to graduate and to show them they can do it. Ivy Thorson, Cashton. Aubrey Hass, Central. For Aubrey, Aubrey, shooting outdoors, whether it's clay pigeons, deer, or turkeys, has always been a family sport, something she enjoyed with her father and grandfather. She's a state champion, a 3-time national contender, and owner of a perfect 50-50 score. But during her junior year, her father Aaron died of COVID-19. Aubrey says, our first year without him, we were pretty much in survival mode. I didn't have any work ethic towards school at all. It was just very hard going through this whole entire thing, and then they're still expecting me to be a full-time high school student. Teacher Kevin Colburn says, she's such a happy person and a hard-working kid. I saw that get extinguished when her dad passed. But what I'm so proud of is how it's coming back. Her determination to do what she wants to do and to be successful for her dad has become really part of who she is. Sports helped her get back on target. Volleyball, trap shooting, softball, and she became a grief advocate for others. She rededicated herself to her studies when she joined the Health Science Academy. Inspired by those who cared for her family, Aubrey plans to attend Western to become a respiratory therapist and work as a CNA during college. Friends have created 2 scholarships to honor her father. Aubrey Hass, Central. Harley Shams DeSoto. Harley is a busy guy, dedicated athlete, volunteer coach, student assembly president, and honor student. But he's hurdled plenty of obstacles, beginning when his mother left when he was 9. He made that an excuse for everything from a bad mood to failing grades. But he had trouble relating to classmates. Teacher and coach Garrett Redmond says, Harley was a kid who frequently misbehaved and found himself in trouble often. He has since changed and become an intelligent, hardworking, and thoughtful person. He was inspired by older brother Kobe, who graduated from Western, the first in the family to earn a college degree. Harley says, that made me want to be like him, get over the problem in my life and do better. And his teachers pushed him. They knew what I was going through in my life, and they knew I could do better than I was. He has found joy in football, basketball, baseball, and track, and he's learned to be a team player in sports and in the classroom. Redmond says, Harley has grown into a leader who is respected by his peers. His leadership and communication skills have been extremely helpful in the classroom and in athletics. Harley Shams DeSoto. Jordan Krager, GET. Imagine being a child of abuse and homelessness, being left in a camper without running water or utilities, living in shelters, moving from school district to school district 5 times. Now imagine succeeding with grit, resiliency, and tenacity. Counselor Maddie Van Sant says, Jordan has endured so much in her life, and I'm in awe of her perseverance. As a senior, she continues to challenge herself by taking multiple AP courses, physics, and is involved in our a cappella group, Out of the Blue. Jordan says, I'm hoping that sharing my story will help someone who's having a hard time and bring light to their future. I just want my children to not have to go through what I did. At age 16, she was adopted into a stable home with 2 parents, 8 siblings, 3 dogs, and 2 cats. Stability at home and the support of friends have all made the difference. Among her activities is singing the school choir. Her choir director says, Jordan is one of the most resilient students I've had in my 17 years of teaching. She has been through so much, but because of her positive attitude, she continues to succeed at the highest levels. Jordan volunteers at Marinuka Manor Senior Center and wants to pursue a career in radiology. Jordan Krager, GET. Irina Bradley, Holman. Irina loves horseback riding and theater. Just do not define her by spastic diplegia cerebral palsy, a neuromuscular disorder. The staff at Holman writes, and as you can see, most of them are here tonight. They're always so supportive. I greatly appreciate being from Holman. The staff writes, throughout her life, Irina has been challenged with adversity and meets it head-on with a positive attitude. From mobility limitations to learning needs, Irina has had to work twice as hard as her peers to achieve her personal and academic goals. She is a role model because she sets high standards, advocates for herself, works hard, and communicates well. She also mentors students who struggle with academic concepts. In theater, Irina has worked the stage crew, but she's looking for an opportunity in the spotlight. She says her condition can make her as jumpy as a bird, but tough as nails. She says, I may not be the fastest or strongest, but I have a lot of determination. I'm not afraid of falling down. Stand back and let me show you what I can do. She compares it to attending your first dance class with a room full of professional dancers. So she has a partner in life's dance, her horse, Stymie, whose movement mimics the biomechanics of human walking. Having Stymie as a partner, she says, has built my confidence because he expects me to be there for him every day. Because of him, I have learned to send clear signals, watch his body language, and to mean what I ask for. She plans to attend Western and eventually pursue a degree in drama therapy. Irina Bradley, Holman. Our next student, Tom Trundle of Key High School in Lansing, is on the school's DC trip. So we will move to Corey Falconer of the Crescent Hoka. Counselor Lizette Salazar calls Corey unapologetically Corey. You know yourself inside and out. Corey has endured an unsettled family life, a devastating house fire, and an identity as a non-binary teen who weren't ready to rear a child. Corey's father went to prison when Corey was 2, and Corey's mother has suffered through addiction and incarceration. So Corey and a brother were sent to live with their grandparents. But a fire broke out at their residence and destroyed almost everything the family owned. Corey says, I had lost everything I'd grown up with. Pictures, memories, sentimental things. I had nothing. When we would have some kind of show and tell at school and people would be like, here's my baby blanket when I was 2, I had nothing to show like that. I had to start from scratch. Around age 12 or 13, Corey began to identify as non-binary. It was a challenge at home and with other students, but administrators and teachers have been accepting and supportive. Corey has been accepted to Montana State University in Bozeman and will pursue a major in environmental sciences. Corey loves the outdoors and says, I just want to be able to appreciate things day to day. Corey Falconer, of Crescent Hope. Maddie Sather, Logan. Four years ago, Maddie's life turned upside down when her father took his life. Today, she's ready to graduate with top grades. Maddie says, if you told me that in middle school or right after my dad passed away, I wouldn't have ever thought that it was possible. I just felt like my life was kind of meaningless and I just kind of gave up on everything. Therapy helped her bounce back. She says, during this time reflecting, I came to a realization. I had to keep going and make the best of my life. I have to do it for my dad and myself. I must continue for the both of us. Her grandmother assured her that Maddie's father was proud of her. For her junior year, Maddie was accepted into the Health Sciences Academy, something that changed her life. She was part of the group that went to Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota to teach health skills. She also shared her experience with grief on a reservation that is burdened with a high suicide rate. Maddie participates on the soccer team, volunteers at area hospitals, and works as a hostess at the Charmont restaurant. She's interested in working in health sciences, probably as a doctor. Her AP English teacher says she's just a pure, kind, resilient woman. I'm so proud of her. Maddie Sather, Logan. Miriam Larson, Luther. Miriam has had to endure not one, not two, but 3 autoimmune disorders. She says, my struggles are a secret to no one. And over the past 16 years of my life, I've learned that somehow I can make a real difference in somebody else's life that I would have never been able to without the experiences that I have. At age 2, she developed symptoms of diabetic ketoacidosis. In 2007, she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. 10 years later, she was diagnosed with Graves' disease, a hyperthyroid disorder, and she had a powerful relapse a year ago this month. She underwent therapy to kill that thyroid gland. And finally, she was diagnosed with celiac disease, which meant a change in diet. She says all of these struggles had a major psychological impact that caused self-image problems. But her faith, family, and friends helped keep her strong. Her favorite scripture passage is, peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. She says, these words that Jesus spoke have been an anchor of hope and peace through the most impossible times in my life. Miriam plans to attend Bethany Lutheran College and hopes to become a therapist or counselor to help people cope with their disabilities. Miriam Larson, Luther. David Smith, Melrose Mindoro. David considers himself a hands-on person, planning to study diesel mechanics at Western, working on towboats with his father, and one day starting his own business flipping tractors. That hard work shows how he tackled mental disability and personal loss. David has attention deficit hyperactive disorder. That makes it more difficult to focus during class, concentrate on tests, and stay organized. He is thankful that his teachers provide reminders and resources, and he couldn't succeed without a positive attitude. David says, it might take me a little longer with projects, but I try my hardest to get them done and keep plugging away at them. He also continues to cope with the loss of his sister, who died in an accident just 2 years before starting high school. It's hard, but you get through it, he says. It just didn't pan out the way you expect life to pan out. His business teacher at Melman says David is a quiet leader who is always helping other students. Whether in the classroom or designing the yearbook for the senior class, he's enthusiastic to collaborate with peers. David says, I'm really proud that I've even made it this far, and I'm about to graduate. David Smith, Melrose Mindoro.